Shalom Yesharala. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to those La'akim that's preach the word in all truth and sincerity. Along to Israelite foreigner brothers that are like the heathens, but the lie on the outside goes back to the nation of Israel, which nation of Israel are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans through the prophecies and curses of Deuteronomy 28 chapter and throughout the Bible. So this is Brother Yakal of my productive video, and today's video will be entitled, All the Sinners of My People Shall Die by the Sword. I was going to go on some precepts and Lord willing, you brothers and you sisters out there be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. And I'm going to start off in the book of Amos, chapter 9, and verse 10. And it reads, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. And that's right, man. Because our people that's in this world, the 2/3 of Israel, the wicked Israelites, they're sinners exceedingly. Where I work at, man, it's a lot of transformers. It's a lot of sodomites, undercover, sodomites of the men, this place just needs destruction, man. Because if you're Israelite in his right mind, his faith, doing right by Yahweh by Shai, keeping the laws, statutes, commandments, you will be constantly vexed here. Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, as the scriptures say. The conversation going to their conduct, the way they conduct themselves, the way their manners, and our people are not ashamed. They boldly, subscribe to all these lifestyles, these perverse spirits, man. But that's why it says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. We know the ultimate sword is the ICBM missiles. It says, we say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Because Jake that's in the world think that, they're not going to be judged for their actions. Because you do reap what you sow, man. So whatever you put out in the earth, whatever actions you do in the earth, that energy will come back to you. So that's why us in this faith, man, we're hoping to be able to hopefully elect, because now, the Lord has given us a chance to do right. And the Lord told us through Moses to choose the life. I have set before you life and death. And Moses said, choose the life. So at this point, Jake, that's in the world, the 2/3 of Israel, they have no excuse, man. But I just wanted to get a quick precept on how the ICBM missiles are the Lord's sword, ultimate sword. But sword represents Esau, Edom as well, the so-called white man. But the ultimate sword is the missiles. And the point is in verse 16, but I'm sorry, Isaiah 66, verse 15 says, for behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, because that's how Lord Yahweh Shai is making a second return on the chariots of Israel, the so-called UFOs. It says to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire, because our Lord Yahweh Shai is coming back as an angry, so-called black man. Because remember that he has to judge those that pierced him. First and foremost. So it says, for by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and plead goes into judge. So what instrument will be that? It will be the ICBM missiles. Because that's going to be the judgment, the icing on the cake. The Lord's going to take out all 2/3 here in America with his sword, with them ICBM missiles, man. And out of them ICBM missiles, it comes out fire once it hits his target, man. It says, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. So the slain of the Lord is going to be many, man. And, we see it, man. We see it daily in public. Jake is just is bugged out, And when you go to Isaiah 3:9, it says, the shoe of the countess doth witness against them. They're to declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. So so Jake, they're like I was saying earlier, it's a lot of these moles out here, man. A lot of sodomites. They don't hide it. They're emboldened, they're empowered, because the society, gives them power. Esau, makes laws to protect these sodomites, man. And these and women that look like women that like women. They don't hide it. They hold hands in public. They kiss each other and stuff in public, and they don't care if it's children behind them or near. They don't care. But that's just how wickedness have got here, man. It's just people are not ashamed. The scriptures say that the unjust knoweth no shame, and that's true, man. It says, woe unto their soul. Woe means destruction, death and destruction unto their soul, for they have awarded evil unto themselves. See, so, they've awarded evil to themselves because they don't get that judgment, And it's not only with the sodomites and being a mo, but, you got, can't say certain words because, YouTube has an algorithm. If you say certain buzzwords, they could take your video down, possibly your channel. So I'm just going to spell it, the PEDOPHILE. You got people that's in that lifestyle. You got men that like boys, little boys and stuff. You have, of course, the E-files, So wickedness have exceedingly polluted the earth, man, as the scriptures say. And that's why the Lord's going to bring great judgment upon this place, man, in the form of Jacob's trouble and through the missiles when the Lord takes this place out. And Yahweh Shai going to destroy people as well, and the angels and the so-called UFOs with them highly concentrated missiles, man. So there's no hope for these people, man. And I meant to bring this precept out earlier after I read Amos 9 and 10. But what is sin? 1 John 3 and 4, it says, whosoever committeth sin transgresses the law, for sin is a transgression of the law. Yeah, so that's what sin is, the transgression of the law. So being a sodomite, you're supposed to be put to death for that, man. Being the L word, the LESBIAN word, you're supposed to be put down according to this law. And I think it's Leviticus 20:13. Yep. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman. So if a man is having sexual relations with another man as he will with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. So that's an abomination, man, because no life comes through that. Only diseases. And that's why a lot of sodomites, a lot of, the lesbos, a lot of them, that's why they get diseases. They get HIV and, gonorrhea, and it's because it's unnatural, and the Lord is plaguing them. It's bringing judgment upon them. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So that's, being a sodomite, being an L word, that's a sin punishable unto death, man. So, also you got bestiality, people that sleep, have sexual relations with animals. That's off, man. And the scriptures speak about that. And all these spirits is here in America, man. And all these people that you come in contact with throughout your daily public life, these workers, your co-workers, people on the bus, people working at retail stores, grocery stores, corporate offices, wherever. People are engulfing these different lifestyles, man, behind closed doors. But in public, they act like they just a good American, man. But let's see. Trying to find that. Yeah, it's Exodus 22:19. Whosoever lieth for beasts with a beast shall surely be put to death. So that's bestiality right there. Whoever, man or woman, whoever sleeps with an animal, they supposed to be put to death, man. But here in America, that's welcome. Why? Because this kingdom is where the wicked is ruling, the Edomites. Esau, Edom. But this is Isaiah 19 and verse 14. The Lord Yahweh had mingled a perverse spirit in the midst of it. So all those behaviors, people that we, just read through the, sodomites and people that commit bestiality, just from those two alone, that's a perverse spirit, and let's look at that word perverse. Perverse. Okay, it says
perverse.
It says perverse describes a deliberate, often stubborn desire to behave in a way that is unreasonable, unacceptable, or contrary to expected norms. Right, and that's true. So people are living a lifestyle that's unacceptable to Yahweh Shemosha, unreasonable. But it's accepted here because Esau gives them liberty to commit those things. Woman adultery, woman committing adultery, woman and man committing adultery. That's a sin punishable unto death. And adultery is legal here, man. Basically, it's legal because there's no judgment on it. A woman that slept with another man outside of her husband. The husband goes and blows away the man that she committed adultery on him with, and he goes to jail forever. Esau give him especially if you're Jake. Esau give you football numbers, and then the woman just gets off scot-free. There's no judgment on her. And according to the law, the man was righteous for putting down that other man, and her, because it is some cases where Jake puts down a man and a woman here, but that according to the law, that's lawful. Let's just get that real quick, and I come back to that. Yep, Leviticus 20:10, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer, which represents the man, and the adulteress, which represents the woman, shall surely be put to death. So according to that law, according to the law of adultery, the sin of adultery, Slakia, the man and the woman are supposed to be put to death. So the husband that found out his woman was sleeping with another man, that's lawful according to the scriptures. But in this society, you'll take that man to prison. Which we don't condone that because we understand we understand we can't keep every law in this captivity. But the law, the man is justified of putting to death the woman and the man. But in this society, we don't condone that because we understand that you can go to prison. But that's why We cast all our burdens and sufferings to Yahweh by Shemo Shai, and we turn the other cheek. That's what Yahweh Shai meant. Turn the other cheek, meaning, there's no the law, statutes, commandments is not executed here. So, we gotta turn our cheek on a lot of things, even though we could be justified in, keeping the law in certain cases. But since the wicked is ruling here, then we gotta turn the other cheek, man. We just give it in the hands of Yahweh Shemo Shai, and He will judge our enemies for us and these people for us. But this Isaiah 19:14 says, "The Lord Yahweh have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err," which means to sin, "in every work thereof," which Egypt represents America, because America is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, according to Revelation 11:8. As a drunken man staggereth in his vomit, man. So yeah, people, this place, America, is sin, is the land of sin, man. The land of darkness where there is no order, where the light is looked at as darkness and darkness is looked at as the light. But that's why Yahweh Shemo Shai is going to utterly take this place out. So, and off on these last couple of precepts, Romans. So, all the sinners of the Lord, of His people, are going to die by the sword, man. And we're going to all these examples, scriptures on why the Lord is going to bring judgment. But this is Romans chapter 1 and verse 26. It says, "For this cause Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections." So a lot of people got a lot of vile affections, man. A lot of weird and bugged out fetishes. For you to wanna, be a sodomite, man, you got hella bugged out demons on you, man. For you to wanna be you love animals in a sexual sense, you got hella demons on you. For you to like little boys, you have hella demons on you. For you to commit adultery, you got hella demons on you. Take another man's wife, you got hella bugged out demons on you, and many more, man. But them are all vile affections. Vile means extremely unpleasant. It says, "For even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature." Yeah, because they are a woman. They like woman, which that's off. "And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one to another." So these people, man, they got a burning lust. These men out here, these women, they got a burning lust to commit, dealing with the man to do sodomy. A woman using dildos and to having sexual relations with a woman, pretending like they're men. That's a burning lust, man, a evil lust to another. It says, "Men with men working that which is seemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense," which is, recompense means to pay back, "of their error, of their sin, which was meet, which was right." Because this was heavy, that behavior that we see now, that was heavy in the Roman Empire, man. It was common to see Jakes, that was Sodomites and Edomites in these nations, Sodomites. That was common. So that same energy, that same spirit is back here, because those same spirits back then are back in the reincarnation and doing these same evil, filthy lusts, man. But that's how the Lord's going to judge them. "And even as they did not retain God and knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind." So yeah, they got a reprobate mind, a bugged out mindset, man, "to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Yahweh, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. So all these evil spirits are here in the earth as of right now, amongst 2/3 of Jake and these heathen nations. You know, it says, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Yahweh. Because a lot of these people, they know about, especially Edomites. These Edomites, they know the judgment of the Lord. They know what happened during the flood. They got the accounts and they got the prophets. They constantly hearing the prophets, speaking on these things. On the former judges the Lord did in the past during the flood, during the time of Noah. Sodom and Gomorrah. So Esau, he know the judgment of the Most High, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure and they'll not do them. So these people that engulf in all these high level, extreme, unpleasant, vile affections, Esau has a pleasure in them that do them. He likes seeing them in that behavior. Why? Because he's in that behavior, especially the elites. All these Edomites, but especially these elites, man. What we see out in the public, how Jake is behaving, these 2/3, these sodomites, these the L word, they're Edomites, they do that all behind the scenes, man. But that's how the Lord gonna take this place out, man. I end off for one last precept. Just started this right now. And Satan been attacking brothers, man. So don't find it strange, Akim, if Satan, which we already know, but just speaking on it, if Satan is constantly, bothering you, with these evil people of this world, man. Your co-workers, these regular people, don't find it strange if Satan's just completely aggravating you and vexing you. But this is Isaiah 1 and verse 28. It says, and the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together, and they that forsake Yahweh shall be consumed. Yeah, so all the transgressors, all the sinners, their destruction going to be together. And everyone that forsook the Lord is going to be consumed by the fire, man. Going to be completely destroyed. So that's going to be the latter end of the wicked, man. And Lord willing, we are hoping for salvation to be spared from the wrath to come. So, I just wanted to make a lesson on that. Lord willing, I was edified. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the Akim that's preached the word in all truth and sincerity. Shalom.